Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for watching the PHNX Coyotes podcast, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Steve Peters and Craig Morgan in our GOAT studio, the Diana Taurasi studio here at the PHNX Sports offices. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing?
Good. I mean, there's hockey. There was hockey last night.
Yeah, there's going to be a regular season hockey in 2 days.
In Europe.
In Europe, of course.
And Yotes in a week.
Ooh, that was a good Petey side to kick us off.
I don't know what day it is.
It's a week from tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's coming.
Wow.
We're talking hockey.
In Pittsburgh.
We are talking hockey. I can't believe we're here. And Coach Petey is coming out today. And Craig and I are going to attempt to be coach, but Petey has come prepared. I
think so. And this time of year for coaches and for fans alike, you go, oh, this guy's going to fit on the team. This guy's going to make the team. This is the guy. He'll be on the team.
Gotten a lot of tweets asking questions about this.
But when you really start putting it down on paper and seeing who plays where and who's going to play ahead of whom, then you go, uh-oh, maybe there's not enough room on this roster.
That's the thing, too, with fans. They're like, oh, this guy's going to make the roster. This guy, well, there's just not that many spots. And there are other issues that we'll talk about in a minute, but Petey, I don't want to steal your thunder here. Why don't you tell people what we're doing today?
So we're going through a little exercise, and we're going to make this no fooling. Like, there's no high-tech answer to this. When I was inside the coach's room, this is exactly how they went about putting the team together and putting lines together. It's just pieces of paper on magnets on a whiteboard, and let's throw guys up. Let's move them around, because when you get different ideas, and sometimes it is literally just throwing something against one, see if it sticks, and you go, oh, never thought of that guy with that guy. That might be good. So today we are going through and into the coach's room, and we are going to build the 2022-23 Arizona Coyotes roster. Are we ready?
I'm ready. Do I have to be Rick Tocchet, like I mentioned earlier?
No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get yelled at.
Okay.
Have you ever watched a hockey game, Petey?
Have you ever seen a game, Petey? Idiot.
We're going to go to the whiteboard now. We don't have any of the lines or the pairs or the goaltending tandem up yet.
Yeah, so where do we start?
Let's start with the top line.
Start at the top line?
I think we should start at the top.
Now, before we put it up, I think they had success last year with 2 different line combinations at the top. I think Keller, Schmaltz, Boyd, which we saw for the majority of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Boyd had his career best offensive output year. Keller was absolutely lights out, and Schmaltz at moments was phenomenal with those 3 together. The other centerman that they had at times, when I said at times, it's only a game or 2, was Barrett Hayton. I don't know if he's ready yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
So let's get a line up there. Let's
throw
start
up the first line. This is what it's going to look. Don't physically vomit up the first line, but put it up on the board here.
So we're going to start with our first line. We're going to put Boyd in the middle.
By the way, Petey printed all of these out and put magnets on every single one. And by the way, if you're listening on audio, I'd recommend heading over to YouTube for this, because there is a visual element. We'll, of course, speak it all out loud, but it is some fun visual aid if you're watching on YouTube.
And there's our first line. Are we all in agreement that that's
I think for now.
I think this is what they have to go with, because this line had so much chemistry last year. They've all talked about it. All 3 line mates have talked about how they work together. Don't fix what ain't broke, right? So go with this top line to begin with. As we know, lines are fluid throughout the course of a season, whether it's through injuries or guys going in slumps. But I think they start with this top line.
Yeah, and here's a concern. I just want to throw it out there, because I think these guys were effective last year at times. Keep in mind, when you're looking across the National Hockey League, first lines are Kreider, Zibanejad. They are Matthews, Marner, McDavid, Draisaitl, often pairs of guys, and they
McKinnon, Rantanen.
Yeah.
Crosby, Gunsel.
Yes.
And Kempe last night with the new Fiala, that line in LA. The concern is, this is a good top line for the Arizona Coyotes. Is it a good top line across the NHL?
A rebuild reminder.
Yeah, HK.
For the record,
draft day, buddy.
For the record, Slindy is here this weekend.
We got to bring Slindy in.
I might have
we
to
need to get
her
the button.
Yeah, I might have her
she
re-record
needs to come
it.
in and
re-record it for us.
re-record it.
Okay.
So
now,
we're there.
We're going to stick with this first line for now.
Nothing's once we put it up doesn't mean it's permanent. We can shuffle.
No, lines are never
gotta start
permanent in the NHL.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go to the second line now. Let's throw this up and let's have some debate.
So do you want to start with a centerman, which is where you would usually start?
Yes.
With the number 2 center.
Yes.
And right now we've got to go to some of the things that have been said in the media by Bill Armstrong and Coach Chychrun is Nick Bjugstad's got to play in the top 6. So if Nick Bjugstad's got to play in the top 6, I think he's got to start as our number 2 center.
Yep. That's what I'm
for today.
That's what I'm penciling in for now. And let me explain that. When they acquired Nick Bjugstad, Bill Armstrong said he thinks he's more effective in those situations. He doesn't think he brings as much to the table when he's down in the lineup. Now, other things are going to change that over the course of the season. First of all, he has to perform. He's going to get some power play time as well, but he's got to perform in that role for them to keep him there. And we're going to talk about another impact, another reason why he may drop in the lineup a little later. But I think for now, you got to roll with Nick Bjugstad and give him a look in that second line center spot.
And the other thing is, too, when you talk about fluidity, there are times over the summer and leading into training camp, coaches will say, oh, absolutely, this guy's going to play. This guy's going to play with that guy. 100%, they're going to play together. This is going to be their top line. They practice the first day of training camp and go, oh, this isn't going to work. Like we need that was.
And a lot of coaches think in pairs rather than full lines too. Two guys.
I think you see that often.
Yeah.
When we talk about 2 pairs, and I know I just read an article on the Rangers where he talked about Zibanejad and Kreider, and then you got Panarin with Trocheck. So they got their first 2 sets of pairs done, and you think in practices of 2, and then you fill in that third. For the Coyotes, I think that top line right now is Schmaltz Keller. That's the 2. And then who intersperses into that top center spot may vary during the season. We'll see. So we've got Bjugstad, big centerman in the middle. Any thoughts on who we want to put on his wings? I would like to see this comprise of some size. So I'm going to go along with newly signed left winger and Frenchie owner. We're going to go with Lawson Crouse on the second line left wing. How do you feel about that, Craigus Morgan and Leah Merrill?
I think the middle 6 on this team is going to be very fluid throughout the course of the season. So I think you can put Crouse in that role. Yeah, I can see him up there. Again, these things are going to be fluid. There might be an argument to play Lawson Crouse alongside Barrett Hayton to let them build that chemistry, right?
Thomas Wayne in the chat said Cassie and Hayton Crouse. So,
and I will say this: we had that about 20 minutes ago. That's exactly what we had. Before we tore all the magnets down, we did have that. So I'm fine with that.
Here's what I'm thinking. As an alternative to this, I'm thinking Nick Ritchie on the left side with Nick Bjugstad.
I actually love that.
And then
I love that.
Zach Kassian on the right-hand side, and you've got yourself a very big, very physical line. That can be your second line, a matchup line. I don't know. I think these things are going to be fluid, but
yeah. I like that.
See, and that's part of the exercise. And I think Richie is a guy that I had forgotten, and what his offensive upside, his ability to get to that, his size, his ability to get on the forecheck matches very well with what Nick Bjugstad is supposed to be able to do for this team. That's a heavy line. And who did you say on the right side?
Kassian.
That is a big, scary line.
It's a bruising line.
Thomas said that line's going to be tough. Holy F. And then Loyal Sif said, jokes on Toronto. We may have lost Bunting, but we gained a first line center in Travis Boyd.
But there you go. And again, so when you're talking about a second line, you can throw out 3 guys with size, 3 guys that can get first on a puck. And there's no fear on that line. There will be guys. We have to see what the defensive responsibilities are going to be with Bjugstad and Kassian. We haven't seen them enough in Andre Tourigny's system to know how their defensive 200-foot game is going to be. But I tell you what, they're going to scare some guys. I mean, when you're looking up at a matchup line and you're putting those guys, we just saw what Trevor Zegras went through against Jan Yannick. Can you imagine him going against that line?
Yep.
Okay. Boy, howdy.
So right.
I think we kind of got to our third line by default.
We have.
Right?
Hayton in the middle,
Barrett Hayton in the middle. And while you're putting Barrett Hayton up here, I want to remind people something that Andre Tourigny said last year. Barrett Hayton was playing up in the lineup early in the season, and people were wondering, okay, he's not producing any offense. Andre Tourigny was really frustrated with that narrative because he was facing some of the toughest matchups in the NHL on a nightly basis. He was holding his own defensively, doing a lot of good things away from the puck. Okay, he wasn't producing, but what they decided to do later in the season to relieve some of that pressure on him, they dropped him to that third slot. And that's when we saw Barrett have 18 points in 34 games, in addition to doing all the other things. They like what he brings right now at this stage of his development in that spot. That's not saying that Barrett Hayton can't move up. Yeah. We know he's slimmer. He's looked very good in the preseason.
Very good.
If he proves it, he could climb up another spot or 2 in this lineup. But maybe to start the season, you put him in that comfort spot between. Who do you guys think?
See, this is where the hard part is, because I saw the comment, A-Root has Richie with Hayton. I really thought the chemistry with Crouse and Hayton was there. I'd like to see if that progresses. It's two guys that are on this, they're both younger guys. I think I'd like to see them together. On the right-hand side, this is where it gets hard.
It does get hard here.
Are we going young Gunther? Are we going young Dylan Gunther, a skilled guy that can get the puck on the net? Or is it a guy that we talked about on a PTO right now, an experienced player in the National Hockey League with Alex Chychrun?
Chychrun was where I was going to go naturally. We saw them have success in last night's game.
Yep.
I don't know. That's just where my gut went, but I'm open to.
I agree with Liam on this one. I like Chychrun in that spot.
Did
I
you
thought
just
he
call
played
me
well.
Liam?
Yeah.
It literally
Liam?
sounded like you said Liam.
I heard Liam.
Maybe I was going with Liam Merrill and I just shortened it.
Liam.
Like a
an
buzz.
alternate name. Okay?
Sure.
I mean, Jacob Franklin behind the camera.
I'm going.
Also has two names.
I like the Chychrun, but here's the issue. And when we're going to get done, there's a lot of names on this right-hand side of forwards that aren't up on the board yet. And we have 3 spots and an extra.
A few of those names have already been sent down to Tucson.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that they won't come up at some point in the season.
Yeah.
But if this roster we're making right now is what we think it's going to be on opening night, we can naturally, quote unquote, cross off some of those names as starting lineup opening night. And we can talk a little bit later about maybe where those players could fit in given injuries or scratches or, people's performance. But yes, there's a lot of names on the side, but a few of those have been sent down already.
So I'm going to do something quickly here. Roaring Fork, they're dumb. Gunther should be in Tucson. I'm going to go ahead. I'm moving him out. Not to Tucson because he can't go there.
Tucson.
He said I hate CHL rules.
Yeah.
So,
But even if he gets a game or two, even if he gets 9, I think he's a junior player, and I think we should go ahead and put him off on the side as being a junior player for this season.
And I do think that Dylan Gunther could get a few games here, maybe not up to the 9-game thing. I don't know that you want Dylan Gunther going on an entire road trip with the Coyotes, right? Get him back to juniors, but maybe they give him a taste of NHL action. And if he plays, by the way, the Coyotes basically feel like he can't play in the top 6 now because he can't face those matchups in the NHL. He'd be wasted on the 4th line. So if he's going to play anywhere, it's going to be in that 3rd line slot. Maybe he gets some looks there. Alex Chychrun, if he makes this team, is a guy who could sit out some games, right? You could give Dylan Gunther that look in that spot. And then when Gunther's ready to go back to Edmonton, then you plug Chychrun right into that spot, and you've got an experienced right wing.
And he
knows, I'm okay with the way we're doing this right now.
And he's okay with sitting out those games because he understands how things work.
Yes.
So let's get to the 4th line. Let's get some size. Let's start with some size up the middle. Let's throw McBain as the 4th line centerman to start the season.
Yeah, we've been telling people. I know there's some people that thought something else might play out here, but we've been pretty consistently telling you that Jack McBain was ahead of Nathan Smith throughout camp, and I think that's how it's playing out right now. We're gonna slot in a big guy who Bill Armstrong really likes his size. Jack McBain fits the mold of a 4th line center. He can do all those things away from the puck. Early on in this preseason, at least, I loved some of the plays that he was making a lot of smart decisions away from the puck and with the puck. I think he's a good fit there.
Yeah, and I think, with Smith already being sent down, it gives him a chance to excel down in Tucson and be the guy. So let's go with one of the program's favorites, one of our regular guests, friend of the program. And we're going to put newly signed right winger Christian Fischer.
The Reverend
Christian Fischer on the right wing on the 4th line. Now here's the problem. You've got a lot of forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know some are already in Tucson. You got a lot of forwards there, and you've got 1 spot left. And this is what I mean when you go, oh, that guy should make the team. Oh, Michelli should make the team. McCartney's going to be. There's 1 spot left.
And roles are important too, right? It's not 100%. Just, this guy. You got to fit into a role.
I think it's O'Brien.
Me too.
I don't think there's any question. It's Liam O'Brien.
It's Obi. Yep.
So I think we put O'Brien there. I think we should move aside maybe down the board or in a special spot the players that have already been sent down. Carcone.
Even though he's still in camp. But I think that move is so that they can send him down eventually. Nathan Smith. Who else we got there?
McCartney, he's still at camp, right? He's just injured.
Yeah, he's injured right now. Yeah, Milos Kellerman, who I just wrote about today, by the way, at gophnx.com. He is going to start the season in Tucson. So you have Dylan Gunther off to the side, and this is where we go back to the extra forwards. Okay.
We have 3 players for the extra forward.
How many extra forwards can you?
You can have 2. You can have 2 extra forwards.
But
It doesn't make sense.
We're gonna have one.
Especially when you have an AHL team that's only an hour and a half away or 2 hours away now. There's no reason to keep two forwards sitting when they can be playing. So maybe you keep one extra forward. And Petey brought up this point a long time ago. And I want to go back to it. When you're looking at who you have sitting out, you don't want that guy to be a prospect who's not getting any development time in games. The more logical person to put in that slot is a veteran who is past the development stage, who's been around the NHL, who understands this process.
And so, Petey? But those three names are, I wouldn't say any of them are super veterans.
This one's easy for me.
Okay.
Machelli goes down.
Yes,
that's
a no-brainer.
Coach
He
really loves him.
He looks great in camp. He's offensive. There's a future here for Machelli. It's just not now.
And like we said on the audio show yesterday, I think he's the first man up.
So now it comes down to, do you want a centerman or a wing? And I tell you what, Laurent Dauphin, for me,
that's my guy too.
Literally does everything.
Veteran.
He's played in the middle. He's played on the wing. He's played top six. He's played bottom six. He's played in the American League. He's played in the National League. And he's been here twice before. And so if I'm in the development side of this, I go, you know what? If Laurent Dauphin sits as our 13th forward and he doesn't play the first 10 games, If Jan Yannick, who are grooming for the future and being a player in this organization for years to come, doesn't play for 10 games, that's a big deal.
Yep.
He needs to go down to Tucson and play. If he was going to slot into the top 12, then Yannick can stay. If he's not slotting into the top 12, and that comes into play if a player like Chychrun doesn't make the team, then maybe there's room to get Yannick into this lineup and have him play in the wing and move people up.
Or at center, and you move like somebody over to the wing because they've been experimenting with that.
100%.
So we're sending Yannick down to Tucson, and we are keeping Dauphin as the extra forward.
13th forward.
And again, this doesn't mean that there's a good chance almost everyone on this board will see an NHL game.
That is correct.
Yeah. A very good chance.
Yes. They're going to be call-ups.
And that's why I saw a comment about Smith being disappointed. Do you think Smith will get... No, I think he's still got a better opportunity playing here at the Arizona Coyotes and getting NHL games than he would in Winnipeg.
And he's probably going to be their first-line center down in Tucson, right?
Okay, we're going to move along to the back end.
We won't talk about Tucson.
Get it to the back end. I'm going to start off with our top-line left defenseman, and I'm going with Gostisbehere right away just to get it done.
Easy.
No-brainer. After the season he had last year, and really what they're trying to showcase him. Let's be honest, he knows it. The organization knows it. The NHL knows it. They're trying to showcase Shane Gostisbehere for a trade deadline move.
Now, the problem is
all these situations.
I agree with the old Rick Tocchet theory. You want right-left matchups because they can get the puck off of the wall in the offensive zone much easier, and they're looking on their forehand when they're breaking out of zone. I like right-left matchups. I would like to give the Ghost a right-handed defenseman to play with.
Got a lot of them here.
You have got 4. He played most of the season with Mayo last year.
Yep.
I don't know if that's
Connor Timmins.
Right. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Troy Stecher is your guy here that I think can play in that situation. Connor Timmins could be there at some point, Leah, and I get what you're thinking because he's part of their future. But I think
he played Timmins, like 4
he's coming off a full season that he missed.
Yeah.
And you know, let's be honest, he struggled a little bit in the preseason, and that's to be expected. So I'm not sure you want to throw him into that role right away.
I agree, and I'm going to put Stecher there to start.
I agree. But I think Timmins could earn that top spot easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets difficult. Because next up on the left side, I'd like to throw 24-year-old Jakob Chychrun up next. The problem is he's on the IR. He's not practicing.
Not just on IR.
Not skating. And will not be there on opening night. So, in a bold move, I'm going to put Jakob Chychrun off to the side.
Okay.
I think he's on the top 6 if he's playing and healthy.
Yes.
He is not going to be healthy by opening night. I just don't see it. I don't know.
And we're technically doing the opening night.
Yep, we're doing opening. So I'm taking Jakob Chychrun. And he's off to the side, is injured for now, which opens up another spot for somebody else. He's not taking up a roster spot. As soon as he's healthy and able to play, and honestly, I'm sure he's on the trip because he'll be with the medical team. That may happen during this trip, and then this will all be a waste of time. But for the short term, Chychrun's off to the side. So who do we got next? As our next up on the left side, we've got Moser.
That's my guy.
Nemeth, Kolyachonok, and Dineen.
JJ Moser's
JJ Moser.
I think he earned it last season.
What a come up for him last season to this year.
And again, if Jakob Chychrun is in the lineup, JJ Moser just slides down a slot. So if Jakob Chychrun plays for the Coyotes this season, and we all know that story by now, JJ Moser slides down a slot. But for now, I think he's fully capable. He showed it last season that he can jump up onto that second pair.
I'm going to stay on the left side. We've got 3 left defensemen left. We've got Nemeth, Kolyachonok, and Dineen.
Nemeth?
I think Nemeth is the most experienced guy. He's shown some things during training camp. I've been really impressed with Kolyachonok right now.
Yes.
I think on the left side, he moves the puck better. He skates better than Nemeth does right now. I think it could be interesting to see him in your top 6 right now. Now, if Chychrun comes back, Kolyachonok goes down because you don't want him being your extra for the same things we discussed with Yannick. So for right now, how do we feel about Kolyachonok?
I think he's looked really good in the preseason.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say that I'm going to be surprised if Patrick Nemeth plays a lot of games for the Coyotes this year. I don't think his game is at a point, and it probably won't be again given his age, where he should be a regular defenseman in your lineup. I think he's a guy that's probably going to rotate in and out based on injuries and other factors.
So are you going to put him as the spare defenseman?
We'll get to that in a minute.
I know I'm getting a little ahead.
Let's fill out the right side first.
So now on the right side, we've got Timmins, Brown, Mayo, Soderstrom. We need 2. Somebody's got to play with Moser.
Is that where Timmins goes?
That's where I'm putting him for now.
I think
you want
Timmins
him to play
goes
meaningful
there.
minutes because you need this guy to.
And then Mayo with Kolyachonok? What about? I don't really know. To be honest, I don't know anything
really
about
hard.
Brown.
I think this is what's going to happen.
I don't know
I think
anything.
Mayo has earned it. I think he's signed the new contract. I just don't think he's going to play there. I think this is Brown's spot to lose right now. I think they're going to play veteran-heavy defense on the back end and keep Dyson Mayo growing, maturing, and developing.
Do you put him back in Tucson then, rather than having him as your seventh defenseman? Because again, Dyson Mayo's been around a little longer, so it's not like he's a young buck.
I'm moving Dineen off.
Did I say young buck? I did say that.
We
Don't
like Cam
isolate
Dineen,
that.
but Dineen's going down.
Dyson Mayo is my age.
So we've got,
Same birth year.
as our extra defenseman now, we have Nemeth, Soderstrom, and Mayo. Are we in agreement? Soderstrom has to go down again.
Yes.
He's not ready.
And we talked about that. If you missed yesterday's audio episode, Tucson Roadrunners with something to prove this year. Victor Soderstrom is one of them, and we get way more into it on our audio episode. So definitely give that a listen. If
one
you
of 2 at the top of the list.
So with Chychrun injured, it comes down to Nemeth and Mayo as your extra, and there is no doubt what you do here, except you have the ability to carry 23 in the short term. You can keep them both.
You can.
In the short term. Do you do that to show Mayo almost like a little reward for what he has done in the previous year? Because Nemeth's going to be there. You're not sending Nemeth down to the American League. I don't see it.
Okay.
I just don't
Craig's
see it.
face was
for the
some
same
doubt.
reason we are with Yannick. Even if someone gets hurt, Nemeth can still be your 7th, and you can call someone up from Tucson and jump into that spot.
But here, flip side of this, Patrick Nemeth is going to pass through waivers. No one's going to claim him, right? So you could send him conceivably to Tucson. This could be like a Zbigniew McCulloch situation where he's down as a mentor for those guys down there in Tucson. I don't know. I don't know what's going to play out here.
I'm going Nemeth here.
Okay.
Coach PD is taking the
And
reins.
Mayo's going down?
Nope. I'm keeping 8D for the first 2 weeks of camp to see how it shapes out.
There you
First
go.
2 weeks
Okay.
of the
So I'm
season,
keeping,
you mean?
and now let's get to the last piece of it.
Yes.
Goaltending. We're throwing. Let's no debate. Veggie's number one.
number
Yeah,
one.
So
Veggie's number
Veggie's
one.
getting a slot.
Yeah, this is funny when you talk about people saying, well, they should make the team. When you really get down to it, it's
just not high
hard.
spots.
And now we've got Johansson, Gillies, Prosvetov, and my favorite, the question mark. Is there
Okay.
somebody else?
Let's start with this. Prosvetov's going back to
Yeah,
Tucson.
send him
The
down.
organization believes he needs to spend another season in Tucson.
Another player we talked about on yesterday's
Bingo.
audio episode.
I think Gillies ends up being his backup in Tucson. And so now we're talking about Jonas Johansson or, as you mentioned, PD, question mark.
So our goaltending right now is Vejmelka on the top and question mark and Johansson. After Johansson's performance last night, I thought there were moments during the second period where I thought he was okay. I thought he was big, and I thought he stopped some puck. Unfortunately, I thought he let in a few too many that squeaked through him. I'm concerned. I'm sure they are as well.
The game-winning goal was not a good goal.
Because the other person is not here yet, Johansson is number 2.
Okay.
But I'm also on the board. We're putting the question mark on the board because there's 8 days until opening day.
And something else to keep in mind for this, the last thing I want to say on the goaltending, the teams that play in Europe, they get to carry 25 players. They don't have to be down to 23 yet, so they can. And one of those teams is the Nashville Predators, who have Connor Ingram, who is at the top of my list of the story that I wrote about goalies who could come available. Kevin Woodley thinks he's a terrific prospect. There are other people who think he's really figured it out. So again, Jonas Johansson's getting a trial right now. The first one was, he's going to get a couple more looks. If he doesn't pass the test, the Coyotes may go looking for another goalie again when they come available.
So, on the board, that's it. That's how the PHNX Coyotes crew shapes it out to start the season.
Let's take one final look at the board. And, all right, for review, we got Boyd centering the top line between Schmaltz and Keller. We have Bjugstad centering line 2 between Ritchie and Cassian. On the third line, we have Hayton as center with Crouse and I cannot say his name. Is it Chychrun?
Chychrun.
Okay, I will get it. I promise. On the fourth line, we've got McBain centering a line between O'Brien and Fisher. And then we have Dauphin as that extra forward. For the D, on the top pair, we have Gostisbehere and Stetcher. For the second pair, we have Moser and Timmins, and that is with Chychrun out on the side. He's currently injured, with the idea that when he comes back, he would slide into that spot and Moser would move down 1. For the third pair, we have Kolyachonok and Brown, and then we've decided, or Petey has made the executive call to keep 2 goalies, two extra defensemen with Nemeth and Mayo. And then as far as goaltenders go, we got Veggie, number 1, right now slotted, Johansson 2, but we put question mark 3 because we are still of the belief that an extra or another goalie will come into the system.
Jonas Johansson has to win this job.
Yes.
He didn't win the job in his first look
No.
in that last preseason game. He needs to win this job. Otherwise, the Coyotes could just, waive him and he could be reclaimed by Colorado and they could go fishing once again.
Yep. So that's what we have. We'll put this out on Twitter later today at PHNX_Coyotes. Everybody can chime in, give their thoughts. If you agree, disagree, what moves you would have made differently. And we can get into some debate. And then we'll look at the opening night roster and see how we did.
Yep.
Last year, we all did our own. This year, we collaborated. So this was fun. Adam said, only thing missing is Petey's Vanna White evening gown, which, yeah, you're so right. Maybe next year we'll get that going. But that was a lot of fun. We should do that every year. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, I love doing this stuff.
Yeah, that was really, it really felt like we were in a coach's room. And by the way, if you're watching, Petey ran off because he said, I've done my job for today.
He's left again.
And he literally ran away. But that's okay because Craig and I still have plenty to talk about. But before we get there, tomorrow night is Thursday Night Football. The MLB playoffs are around the corner.
This is when I dial into
and
MLB.
And this is funny because I got into some beef with Shane a little bit because I'm from Toronto. I'm a Blue Jays fan. Am I a Blue Jays fan in the sense, have I watched a single Blue Jays game this year? No. But now they're in the playoffs, so I'm dialing it back in. Well, Blue Jays Mariners is looking like the matchup, and Shane is a diehard Mariners fan, and he said that I cannot cheer for the Blue Jays since I didn't watch a game this year. But yeah. I'm a Toronto fan.
I'm okay with him being a Mariners fan. I mean, I might bring
his
up
family's from Washington.
I might bring up that his father is a Washington State fan, which is a little more suspect than Shane's choices. So I'm gonna allow it.
Anyway, really exciting, and we're gonna use the Underdog Fantasy app to make watching it more exciting because you could do the pick'em game. You can put money on higher or lower, which is a really fun thing to do. It makes it so much more fun to watch these games, and especially I like the baseball playoffs a lot.
I do too.
It's what
got such a different feel to it.
It's when I get bought in.
Tension in the air.
It's when I get bought in, but I'm even more bought in when I have some money on the line, and that's what Underdog makes really fun. So I'm sure I'll do some pick'em. You can do 2 people drafts. You can go head to head with someone. $5 buy-in. The winner wins $9. It's super, super easy to do. So all you have to do, search in the App Store or click on the link in the show notes. Sign up with promo code PHNX and Underdog. Will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PHNX, and get in on the action today. And I'll also be enjoying some Four Peaks beers while watching the playoffs.
I just loaded up on pumpkin porter again.
Yes. Oh, 'tis the season for pumpkin porter.
It's perfect now.
And by the way, if you get a chance to try the pumpkin porter cheesecake at Four Peaks, I'm just saying.
I didn't even know that existed until it appeared in front of me. At that
Sean said this the other day. I think did it pass the chicken tenders in your power rankings?
I think so. I think it's probably my favorite single food item from Four Peaks.
It's pretty amazing.
It's unbelievable.
That's your meal right there, right? Chicken tenders, a pumpkin porter, and the pumpkin porter cheesecake.
It's
Done.
perfect.
Done.
It's fall. It's so good. And you can try it. And listen, I came into this show today ready to promote our ASU hockey takeover, but it's sold out.
Sold out instantly in
hours, less than a day. So everybody who's coming to that, we're so excited. Next Friday, October 14th, we're doing an ASU game Mullett takeover. We're having a pregame tailgate, if you will, at Four Peaks. There's going to be an unlimited taco bar. Of course, Craig is missing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe you've noticed a trend at PHNX where they host all these cool events when I'm not here.
Yes, that's part of the plan.
Does seem to be part of our brand. Yeah.
But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you didn't get a chance to get tickets this time, they were open to members only. So great. A lot of our events are going to be like this. So I highly recommend becoming a member so you can get first access to all these amazing events. And then join our members only Discord so you hear about them right away before anyone else, because like I said, this one sold out in less than a day. And we're going to have plenty more events like this too. So keep them on your radar. Four Peaks is so much fun. We have so much fun there, and all the events there are fantastic. If you want to drink Four Peaks, you must be 21 and older and enjoy responsibly. But if you're not 21, you could still come to the 8th Street Pub and come to our events. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else you want to talk about the lines before we move on to talking about the game?
I think we're going to probably get a lot of feedback from people on these lines. So we'll be able to talk about this in the coming days.
And I do think the one thing I'll say, and I already said this, but I just want to reiterate this, I still think every single person on that board, maybe not Gunther, depending on what they do with him, is going to see an NHL game with the Coyotes.
Right. I mean, I think Gunther could see some early, but I really think he's going to end up going back to
And I think, you think of Smith, you think of Michelli, you think of Carcone even. Those are kind of the next guys who can, and we saw the season that Carcone and Michelli had last season. They earned their time up in Arizona.
And Unique too.
Yep, and Unique, absolutely. So, we'll see what they do in Tucson, and we'll see. And it's inevitable. There's going to be injuries.
Mm-hmm.
There might even be, trades for assets, and that will open up spots. So we'll see.
Can I just lay this out there again? Because people get upset when writers don't tweet the lines every day at practice. It's not coming. Just set your mind to that, okay? You're not going to be getting the lines from me every day at practice. When there's something relevant with the lines, when there's a change or something interesting, I'll give them to you then. But I'm not going to give them to you every practice, so don't count on that.
All right. Well, lucky for us, the preseason game against the Vegas Golden Knights was finally on streaming.
Yeah, able to watch
it was
that
on
whole thing.
ESPN Plus last night, so we were able to watch it. The Coyotes once again lost by 1 goal to the Vegas Golden Knights.
The formula.
It is the formula. They still have yet to win a preseason game. So,
This is it. Exactly. They have 1 point so far in the preseason. I guess if you're charting points, we got a look at Jonas Johansson last night. We've already talked about that a little bit. I wouldn't even call it necessarily a shaky start. There was traffic in front on the first goal. I thought he could have done a better job of tracking the puck on that. The second one was a bad change by the Coyotes and a terrific shot. I thought he settled in for a while, but then at the end of the game, not so much. And I really didn't like the game-winning goal. That's just, he was just off his angle there.
Yeah, he had 24 saves on 28 shots for a .857 save percentage. So not a great night. And we talked about this already when building the line. He needs to earn his spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that last night was not the performance that he needed to put on to do that. Aiden Hill on the other end of the ice, former Coyotes goalie, by the way.
Should have kept Aiden Hill.
No, we're not saying that. But holy moly,
preseason game.
50 to 53 shots for a .943 save percentage. But that also speaks to the Coyotes' shots on goal. They had 28 shots on goal in the second period.
I liked, when I'm diving into the details of this game, I liked Matthias Michelli. I like the way he's playing, but Barrett Hayton's popping for me. And I know maybe I'm trying to support my own opinion here because I've been picking him as the breakout player of the year since like last season.
You convinced me. I'm on the bandwagon.
Yeah, but I really like how Barrett Hayton is looking. And we mentioned the lines earlier, and starting him in that 3 slot, maybe to give him a comfort zone. He could earn his way to a greater role if he keeps playing the way he's playing. Easily.
He had 3 points last night, which is unbelievable. A goal and 2 assists. Michelli and Chychrun had the other goals. So, I mean, I feel like every time Hayton's in the lineup for a preseason game, he's on the score sheet.
He's showing up.
And that's what you want from a 5th overall pick.
Yep.
So,
with the most disjointed development path I've ever seen. Factor all that in when you're judging Barrett Hayton, but he looks like he's arrived.
Yep, it does look like it. So let's hope that translates to the regular season. And I don't know if we have it in this room. Do we have the road graphic, Sean? The road trip one?
If you give me a second, I can get it in here.
Okay.
You mean we have to talk? I have trouble doing that, Sean, as you probably
fill
noticed.
Air. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if you had any other takeaways from that game, but it's so hard. I don't want to make too grand a pronouncement about anything because it's still the preseason. There were a lot of guys out of the lineup for Vegas, right? So I'm always hesitant to make major judgments on the preseason, but you're looking for little things, like you're looking for signs of progress from a player like Barrett Hayton. He's certainly shown that so far. Again, you want to see Johansson perform in that backup role with a look, and he didn't. And now the road trip graphic is up, so I can stop talking.
Yes, we have the road trip graphic. So this is what the Coyotes have left on the schedule. Only 2 more preseason games on the road, though, of course, like everything else. The Vancouver Canucks this Friday, the 7th in Vancouver. And then on Saturday, the last game of the preseason in Boise, Idaho.
Boise, as they say up there.
Boise.
The Coyotes did not even come home from the game in Vegas. They're staying on the road. They're going to do some team building exercises, always something that happens, sometime in the preseason. Then they'll go to Van, then they'll go to Boise, and then they'll have a few days after that game in Boise where they'll just practice and we'll whittle it down. No, they'll come home now, and then we'll see the roster. They'll whittle it down to the real roster, and then they'll start really preparing for that first game in Pittsburgh.
Yep, and then they go Pittsburgh, Boston, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Columbus. Woo!
I'm going to start the road trip with the Coyotes. I can't promise I'm going to finish it. In fact, I can promise I will not.
You can promise that you will not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Coyotes are on the road a lot in the beginning of the season, but every NHL team still plays their 41 home games. So when they are home, I recommend you check out Game Time to buy your tickets because you can save up to 60% off, especially when you buy day of game. I know that's stressful for people who are planners, and I know Craig and Petey and myself are actually planners, especially Petey is a little bit on edge. I don't know how he would do buying last minute, but it's seriously, like, they're literally cheaper the day of the game or the event, which is crazy. So check out anytime you want to buy tickets for either Coyotes, Suns is coming up. We got Cardinals going on right now. There's concerts coming into town, shows, any of it. Check out Game Time. When you buy, you can save up to 60% when you buy last minute. And the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. So scroll down here on YouTube, scroll down if you're listening on audio, the link is there. And then let us know if you have success. We've heard some great success stories in our members only Discord about people using Game Time, and not just how cheap the tickets are, but great customer service as well. So we really do love Game Time. And also, as we're gearing up for the NHL season, you can stock up on your gear on foco.com. They have the best Arizona merchandise. They have officially licensed gear for men, women, and kids, and everything from bobbleheads to swimsuits to Crocs. And this week they have brand new Cardinals hoodies for all the Cardinals fans out there. The ultimate loungewear. It's similar to a Snuggie. We're almost in.
Do you have any Snuggies,
season.
by the way?
I do not. Do you?
I have 2 Snuggies. Did not buy them myself.
Do you wear them?
I'm going to lay that out there. I'm not going to answer that question, Leah.
I think that's a yes. Oh my goodness. Well, if you want to get one for yourself, head on over to foco.com for all non-presale items. Use the promo code PHNX for 10% off. I'll read some of the comments here. Roaring Fork said, Zadina and Hayton's development paths are so similar, it's uncanny, and they were taken 1 pick apart in 2018.
I remember because everybody wanted Zadina at the time. They were screaming. Coyotes fans were screaming that they
I
didn't
remember
take
that.
Philip Zadina. I would have taken the center over Philip Zadina any day of the week, and I said it at the time.
Yeah, and look, they have similar paths, and then Roaring Fork also said they get Piston, Idaho, and you pronounce Boise like I just said. Sorry if anyone's from Boise. I'm very sorry. It's okay. One other thing we haven't talked about yet is Clayton Keller hasn't played a preseason game yet. Yeah. And obviously, he had a gruesome injury to end the year.
Yeah.
All indications point toward him being healthy. He said that and he's been practicing, correct, in training camp?
Yeah, he's been out there. They're just being cautious with him. Preseason is preseason, right? And I don't know yet if they're going to try and work him into these last couple games. I'm going to check in with the Coyotes to see if that's a possibility. But I don't know that he needs that much in terms of preseason game time before he's ready to go. Again, just being very cautious, being very careful. You don't want to you don't want to have him have any sort of relapse when he's this close to returning to the lineup. So
not at all. Yeah. And again, we just want Clayton Keller to play a full season healthy. There were so many players, and it's so funny. I think the Clayton Keller injury overshadowed a lot of the others, but Lawson Crouse was out to end the year. Christian Fisher was out.
Nick Schmaltz had injuries.
Yeah, so it's we were at least for me, I'm just
and Jacob Chychrun, of course.
Yeah, well, and Jacob Chychrun is still out with injury. Is there any update on a timeline for that?
Nope, not yet. We'll see.
All right, yeah,
there's a lot going on there, as we all know.
Yes, there is a lot. And also, I guess we should quickly address the reports that the asking price is lowered. Do you know anything about that?
I'd be cautious about that. I still think a first-round pick and a top prospect are part of it. Would the Coyotes be willing to take on somebody else's contract? Yeah, they might be willing to do that. But those two key pieces, I don't think that's changing. And my sense right now is there just hasn't been that offer. So on we go.
And also, lastly, I know Craig doesn't really want to get into this, but I do. So I'm bringing it up as the host of the show. There is some Twitter things yesterday about the Coyotes players being really upset about playing at Mullett Arena. But if you've watched this show for the last few months, you know that we've asked players straight to their face live on a live show.
Oh, but they're not telling us the truth, Leah. They're lying to us. Maybe they're talking to their agents. Well, I talk to agents too. I'm a reporter, okay? I make these calls, all right? So some offhand with no details whatsoever, I don't even know what to call it. It's not even a report. It's almost like a rumor from a certain journalist with a Greek last name. Seriously, do I even have to address this? And in fact, no, I'm not going to address it. I'm done.
I will just look at our Twitter thread from yesterday at PHNX_Coyotes. Literally, the receipts are there. We got Christian Fisher, Lawson Crouse, Nick Bjugstad, former Coyote, Michael Grabner, all saying that they are excited or think it's fun. Nobody has said it's ideal. Nobody has said this is my ideal situation.
And nobody said, oh my God, I'm so concerned about league-wide revenue.
Nobody gives a shit.
So the player
Stop with that.
I mean, it's you want to be bought into the PA's mission, but I just get the sense that it is what it is. It's not a major issue.
But why do fans care? You're just making billionaires richer. Yeah, why do you care as the average fan about league revenue?
I almost want to put a moratorium on even addressing this issue anymore. Can we do that?
I don't know. It just gets me fired up. Just stop. Leave us alone. The Coyotes are bad at enough. We don't need this extra.
They're playing in a 5,000 seat arena. We know.
Okay? It's still
been
the
hashed
same
out.
Size ice rink
HK.
Physically as every other one in the league. Okay, we're done with that. We're gonna relax now. Enjoy these chairs.
These are good chairs.
These are good chairs. These are
chairs.
Amazing chairs. And they're of course from More Furniture. So if you're watching us on YouTube right now, you can see them. They're really soft. They're like just comfortable enough that you sink a little, but you can still keep your posture.
Fighting to stay awake here.
Yeah, and is that you saying let's wrap this up?
Let's wrap this up. But before we do, we got something really cool coming on Friday.
We do, but I need to finish saying what I was talking about. If you want to furnish your house or your new space, or just want to redecorate for the new season, check out More Furniture's fall sale at morefurniture.com. They have great stuff, and they really outfitted our entire office. We love all of our new furniture here. So, all right, Craig, let's talk about Friday's show because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Keith Yandle's going to be on the show. I think we told you this already, but we are really excited to talk to Jelly.
Yes, we are. And just expect the unexpected on that show.
Yes, that's a good way of saying we're not going to give any more hints than that. But I'll also have a story moving on Keith Yandle that morning on gophnx.com. So be sure to read that. I've got some great anecdotes already. I'm hoping to collect some more, but that story will be up before Keith Yandle appears live on our show on Friday. We're really looking forward to that one. Hopefully we get the Keith Yandle that is always in the room. The guy that players see more than media. He's sometimes a little more polished and reserved with media. Hopefully we can draw him out. And we have some ways that we're going to try and do that later.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Like I said, expect the unexpected on that show. Please subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. If you hit the notification bell, you'll never miss when our shows go live. So we would really appreciate that. We'll have another audio episode tomorrow. If you don't subscribe to our podcast in the audio form, we highly recommend doing so because we have usually 1 to 2 just audio episodes a week. So you don't want to miss that content. Like I said yesterday, we had a great conversation about the guys in Tucson with things to prove, and we'll have another audio-only episode coming tomorrow talking more about that global series going on in a couple of days here. So subscribe, leave us a review if you haven't already. Our podcasts are available on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. They're there. It's the best time of year to subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already. So please do that as well. You can follow PHNX Sports across all social platforms, and especially follow at PHNX_Coyotes on Twitter. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Make burner accounts and follow it. I'm just kidding, but not really. And you can follow each of us on Twitter at Craig S. Morgan, at Leah Merrill, at S. Peters Hockey, and at Sean_DePaz as well. Any final notes before we head out?
I'm good. I'm out. Other than, Sean, I want to bring up that one sleeve of my Nutter Butters is missing from the safe. So I think we need to launch an investigation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not me.
Yeah,
but,
Sean's allergic. So
if it wasn't for me, there'd probably be more missing. I've stopped a few.
It's true.
So,
but I know you can't be here 24/7.
Yeah.
So fortunately,
we should put a camera.
We installed. Well, we did actually, Leah. We have secret security cameras in the building, and we're going to dust for fingerprints.
I've just ordered dye packs on Amazon. So if anyone goes in there,
perfect.
We'll know.
Okay. Stay tuned for what we find out.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for chiming in the comments. We'll have an audio episode tomorrow, live again Friday at 11 a.m. with Keith Yandel. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.